Now that the fall of X is over, I want your opinion on it. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or was it eh? Please let me know. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we now start our coverage of the fall of the House of X with number 1. So story starts off in the Old West. Not really. Cyclops is having a dream, and he's being drugged behind a man who obviously captured him, and he takes him to the town of Timely. Now, I know all you guys know what Timely means, right? As Victor Timely, he founded the town as Kang the Conqueror. Will we see him in this? Not in this book, but maybe we'll see him in the series. And then he walks by a fortune-telling machine that looks just like Destiny. He's taken to the courthouse, and the usual cast of characters in Orcus are the judges. Justice is swift and very unfair. He is immediately taken to the hangman gallows, dropped, but he just floats there because there's a woman with a bonnet on. I think that's called a bonnet, but she has red hair, so you know it's Jean. But now we cut to reality. He's in the paddy wagon. They still call it the paddy wagon? I'm calling it the paddy wagon, where he is handcuffed and blinded. As he gets out, we see that he is in Paris. So that's where his trial is going to take place. Orcus doesn't have the greatest kind of reputation right now in America because of the Uncanny Avengers, so they decided to move it to Paris. And if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about with the Uncanny Avengers, the card's right here, and the link to the playlist will be in the description. So now we take a quick flashback as you see Colossus and Wolverine do their patented and oh so ever famous fastball special. And if you don't know what the fastball special is, that is when Colossus takes Wolverine like a baseball and throws him at the enemy. And when you have a short, muscle-bound man with animated claws coming at you, you can imagine what happens to him. But now we cut to present day, and we're in the Paris tunnels, so you know what they came to do. And Colossus and Wolverine, while they take out Orcus agents, are having a discussion of what they should call their new move. So Colossus takes this Orcus agent that was trying to shoot him, which is stupid because he's pretty much made of steel right now, and he throws him as hard as he can at Wolverine and says, "What about the Piñata special?" So Wolverine slashes the hell out of this man, and I can just imagine what he looks like right now, and he goes awful. So Wolverine goes, "That's a terrible name, Pete. I thought you Russians were poets." And Colossus is like, "I'm not really feeling poetic right now." Wolverine goes, "I get it." So then Colossus goes, "Let's go liberate Cyclops." And then Wolverine's like, "Why don't we call it the Screwball Special?" Colossus is like, "Why?" Wolverine's like, "Cause they're screwed." So now we cut back to Cyclops, and he's inside of an interrogation cell, and we see that Dr. Alia Gregor and Omega Sentinel walk in to talk to Cyclops. And Cyclops is like, "Dr. Gregor, you were actually on my mind. And let me tell you, this heifer is one-track minded." She goes, "Oh, have you been replaying the moment you made me a widow over and over again?" And yes, her husband did die. He sacrificed himself trying to stop the X-Men. But technically, he's not dead because he is Nimrod. I mean, the reason why Nimrod says those stupid things that he says is because of her dumb husband. He goes, "No, I don't remember leading the assault team to the mother mode that day," which he doesn't because when they brought him back to life, they didn't put that memory back in him. He goes, "No, I was thinking about more or less the cost of war." And she goes, "Some of us pay more than others." She needs to quit crying. I mean, he's still around to sell dumb dad jokes, like if they had kids. I don't think they had kids. Hopefully something that evil should never bear children. And Cyclops goes, "I know, grief is a heavy set of chains." And that's all Karen needed to hear because she's about to go off with a caramel macchiato. She's like, "Don't you dare." All Karens around the world starting to rejoice. Let me tell you, because of our sacrifice, the last human has died because of mutant aggression. I am not having a hard time. Don't pretend to know me. And then Cyclops calls her on her. He's like, "Sorry. I thought I caught a whiff of bourbon on your morning coffee. It's a caramel macchiato, Scott. It's a caramel macchiato." So he goes, "So if not to discuss the war, then why are you here and why are you accompanied by Omega Sentinel?" And Omega Sentinel's like, "I was wondering the same thing, honestly." Karen. She didn't call her Karen. In my mind, she called her Karen. "We're here because I wanted to see you and tell you that I've lost a battle and a husband. I won the war." All I was thinking when I was reading this, if I'm Omega Sentinel, I'm like, you act like you did it by yourself. So then Cyclops is like, "I think you came here for something else." So then Karen, I know her name is Dr. Gregor, I'm calling her Karen, goes, "And what would that be?" Cyclops is like, a human interaction with a man experiencing his own profound grief. Shouldn't say anything, and then Cyclops goes, and what happens after when the last mutant dies underneath your heel? And Karen goes, I'm not sure. I suppose mankind exhales and lives happily ever after? And Cyclops laughs. And Karen goes, oh, that's a funny idea to you, human happiness? And Cyclops like, my question wasn't directed to you. And Omega Sentinel changes the conversation real quick. She's like, we should go, Dr. Gregor. Cyclops is due back in court. Because Cyclops knows what this turns into, and so does it make a Sentinel. It turns into Days of Futures Past, when the Sentinels enslaved the mutants and then realized that mutants and humans are the same damn thing, and for enslaving these people, we need to slave them too. And that's what happens. Omega Sentinel does not want humanity to catch on to that just yet. And then we cut to Krakoa. We have Professor Xavier just kind of standing in like a field by himself. He just goes, no more. No more. And he screams, no more. And then he goes, it's time. To me, my X-Man, this is Charles Xavier. I need you, Rasputin 4. She's like, but X, I'm above the courthouse and I have a crucial role in the rescue mission. He cuts her right off. I know you've been splitting your time between me and the X-Men. I promise you, we can save them all, but I need you to join me right now. You must trust me. We can fix everything. And she goes, very well. And she takes off. And like immediately after she takes off, Wolverine's like, all right, Rasputin, Pete and I are in position. So Wolverine keeps calling out for her and she's not responding. And he goes, something's wrong, Pete. And he sniffs and he's like, we got company. Wolverine's like, we got soldiers and something big and heavy coming towards us. And whatever that big and heavy thing is, just shot at them. They go flying. So then Wolverine's like, oh, crud. And Colossus is like, is that an electromagnetic? And they go flying towards the wall. And Wolverine is like, yep. And it's a hell of a strong one, too. So this Orchis agent comes out of nowhere and screams, for humanity. And he has a flamethrower and it starts roasting Wolverine. So now the Orchis agents are laughing at him, and all you hear is a bam. So you know that's Nightcrawler. So now it smells like farts, but they are in the sewers, so doesn't really matter. So he starts having a conversation with Wolverine and Colossus as he's beating the hell out of these Orchis agents. He's like, it appears we've lost Rasputin 4, and we must adapt our plan, and perhaps even lost the invasion of Earth while Cyclops is still in prison. Colossus is like, unacceptable, and Wolverine's is like, I'll kill them all, because he is a burnt biscuit. So the Orchis agents take off and Colossus picks up that big, huge electromagnetic tank and then throws it and goes, let these Orchis cowards run and tell all the murderers in red that anybody aligned with fascism will die squirming under my metal foot. That's Russian for ain't no more games being played here. He didn't really say it in Russian, but you know what I meant. So Nightcrawler starts talking to Wolverine. He's like, I fear that you, and Wolverine cuts him right off. He's like, no more fear. From this moment on, they're going to be the ones who will fear. In other words, we're murking anybody who's affiliated with Orchis. Anybody. So the Nightcrawler grabs both Wolverine and Colossus and goes, then the war. And he bamps out of there. So you know, now it smells like farts. So now we cut to the trial of Cyclops. And the prosecution just stated the case, and now the arrest. And then the judge goes, now the defense can begin. And Cyclops is like, nah, I'm not offering a defense, Your Honor. I'm not dignifying any of that nonsense with a response. I know there's good in humanity, but I am not being prosecuted by it. So then the judge is like, I'm warning you, if you follow through this non-tactic, you will surely be found guilty in this capital case. So then Cyclops is like, I could only be judged by one soul, and I really don't think you want to meet her. So then we cut to the Bloom, and Bargain Bin Sinister goes, huzzah! That Rudy Poo would say huzzah. He's like, we got what we wanted. Krakoa's guilty, the mutants are guilty, we won. And after the court case, the history books won't be a problem anymore. Ben-Ur can write whatever drivel he wants. So Mega Sentinel's talking to Nimrod and she goes, why wait to celebrate? Nimrod, go kill Krakoa. And Nimrod's like, my pleasure, Mega Sentinel. And he pops out of there. Not a bamp, but a pop. And then Karen noticed exactly what just happened. And now she's starting to realize how the fix is in. And how once they win, they're next. So then we cut to the Quiet Council chambers. I miss the Quiet Council. Won't see that again. And Nimrod shows up and he's like, hey there, you big dumb island. I wish I could say this won't hurt Krakoa, but then I don't want to be a liar. So then Krakoa hawks his big ass loogie at Nimrod, which its loogies is amber. And Nimrod's like, Unit disabled, he got me. So then Krakoa says something, and Krakoan, and then he gets up, full legs, full arms, and starts to take off. And then Ra's like, Nimrod Prime is disabled and we got a runner. And that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, he jumps down a hole into some water and starts to swim away. So then we got signals posted all around the world because Karen decides she wants to speak to the world. And she goes, people of Earth, while you slept, the world changed. This is Dr. Karen, all right, Dr. Gregor of Orchis. We were lulled into a false sense of security because a few good things that the mutants did, but they did not care for you and I. Krakoa has been proven to be an invasive alien species, and Orchis is pulling it from the Earth's garden. The next few hours will be uncomfortable. We do not relish the threat of violence, but the tree of liberty is dry, and she thirsts for righteous vengeance. Krakoa will be eradicated, and the mutants who don't leave the planet peacefully will be liquidated. You realize she's talking about people and not like product or properties. This is their final warning. So now we cut to the Blackbird and we got Rogue flying, and she's like, well, everything's gone to hell, but at least we knocked Orchis' hood off. But we didn't get Cyclops. And in case like, and what happened to Rasputin 4? And Colossus is like, a damn good question, and I would like an answer. So Gambit's like, and what happened to Iron Man's big plan? In case like, he's executing it right now. She's like, we weren't ready for the invasion yet, but it's all falling apart. We gotta go now. We're all over London now, and there are several gates that I can use to rally more troops. She's like, I'll have Emma go start the comms. Good luck, everybody. And then Wolverine's like, I'll see you on the other side, kiddo. Don't you die out there. So Kay starts using the gates. Pops up on Iron Man and Emma, lets them know what's going on. She pops up at Krakoa. She pops up on the Juggernaut. He's at the mansion. She's like, nice gun. And he goes, I smashed into one of Cable's armories. And then she's like, go be unstoppable, big guy. And then we see in New York, the Avengers and the X-Men fighting the Stark Sentinel. And Emma is giving a speech of her own. She's like, this is Emma Frost. I am touching so many beautiful mutant and human minds. Keep resisting. You might be fighting earlier than what we preferred, but I have the utmost confidence in your abilities. We will succeed. We must. The whole world's at stake, and we must be nothing less than fabulous. And then Kate shows up to Island M. She's like, it's time, Polaris. And she's going. And then we cut to nowhere, where we see the Brood is taking over. So Karen called mutants an invasive species. That's because she never met the Brood, because that's exactly what they are, an invasive species. But they've been a little bit better since Brood took over. Now Brood technically is a mutant, but he's also part of the Brood. It's a long story. If you know the X-Men, then you know what the hell's going on. And he thinks Jean is coming to visit him, but it's not Jean, it's Polaris. And Polaris lets him know that Jean is dead, and if you want to avenge her, follow me. And Brood's like, you ain't said nothing but a word. To war. Now Karen gets to find out what a real invasive species is.